Right, back to that story from across the pond. The conspiracy theorist has been ordered to pay almost $1 billion in damages after falsely claiming that the Sandy Hook school shooting in Connecticut was a hoax.
Alex Jones claimed the attack back in 2012 was a staged government plot to take guns away from Americans, saying the parents of victims were crisis actors. One of those parents was Robbie Parker, who lost his beautiful 6-year-old daughter, Emily. Well, Robbie Parker joins us now. Robbie, I think any of us over here who've watched what's happened have been absolutely dumbfounded that anybody could get away for so long with saying that what happened to your daughter and her classmates and teachers could have been staged or a hoax, and that grieving parents were actors. I mean, it's utterly sickening. You have eventually reached justice of a sort. But before we get into the details of that, I want to ask you, first of all, about your lovely daughter, 6-year-old Emily, because really, there's a life to be celebrated here as well as mourned. Who was Emily to you?
Emily was a person that she brought such a sense of love and joy into my life in a way that was almost scary. When she was born, the impact that she had on my life immediately, it hit me so hard and left me feeling very vulnerable, that I could love somebody as deeply and as passionately as I did the moment I laid eyes on her. And as a person, Emily, a story about Emily, one night we had a parenting moment with Emily. There was something that we needed to help her understand a little bit better, and she went to bed. And when we woke up in the morning, there was a card that she had made overnight that she had slid under our door saying that she was sorry because she felt like she had done something wrong, and she understood that we were trying to teach her, and she wanted us to know that she heard what we had to say and that she was sorry for what she had done. And it showed that at 6 years old, Emily understood the difference between right and wrong, and she knew how to apologize, and she knew how to make amends. And at 6 years old, she could do that, where the person that we're dealing with, Alex Jones, he's incapable of doing that. He doesn't seem to understand the difference between right and wrong. He doesn't know how to say he's sorry, and he definitely doesn't know how to make amends. And so Emily was the type of person that knew and understood those things, and she provided that to everybody that she came into contact with.
Can you just tell us, how long after you lost this darling, this treasure, did you begin to hear what this ghastly man was saying about you?
So Emily died on a Friday morning, and in the early hours of Sunday morning, so less than 48 hours after Emily was killed, there was already rumors and things going on the internet. There were comments being made, there were videos being posted about me, and false statements saying that I was indeed a crisis actor, that I was part of a government conspiracy to try and take people's guns away in the United States. And so within 48 hours, I was already starting to be attacked.
I didn't realise it was that soon, to be honest with you. 2 days. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine your suffering up to that point anyway, and what you knew lay in front of you in terms of trying to recover from this terrible blow. But for this to happen, how much worse did it make things for you?
I mean, we were already, my wife and I and our family, we were already facing the impossible. We had to try and come to terms with the fact that our daughter was brutally murdered inside of a classroom. And we were faced with the impossible task of letting her 4- and 3-year-old sisters try and understand and comprehend that their sister was never coming home again. And so that was enough to fill you up with so much grief and pain. And then to have somebody take that grief and pain and exploit it for his own purposes, it is literally impossible. Rightfully, there are no words in the English language that can describe the type of evil that is.
Robbie, firstly, he puts online the fact that he doesn't believe you. He doesn't believe what's happened, that it's staged, that you're an actor, that the story doesn't hold up and it's all a conspiracy to take away America's guns. That was bad enough. I mean, that was dreadful and sickening. But what it sparked was a sort of contagion of abuse, wasn't it? That meant that you were forced to leave your home and move thousands of miles away, which wasn't far enough away to escape the abuse. What happened with the internet trolling that has dogged you since Alex Jones launched his conspiracy theory attack?
Right. I mean, his theories and his lies, and it's debatable whether he believes it or he doesn't believe it. What he does know is that by spreading these lies, he profits from them, and by riling up his listeners and his viewership, makes him more popular, gets his message out there, so that he can make more money. I mean, that's what he's all about. So, so to answer your question about the way that spread, I mean, he's a virus that he can infect people's minds. He makes people that are very vulnerable and very willing to believe things that are quite frankly almost unbelievable. What happened to Emily is unbelievable that could happen, but it did happen. And he exploits people's insecurities, and he gives them a reason to hate, and he gives them a reason to go after the things that they're afraid of. And he made me the target of that. The person that shot Emily, we didn't know who he was, and he lived in our neighborhood, and he did what he did, and we don't have a reason for that. But we do have a reason for why Alex Jones did what he did. And the people that are in my neighborhood or in my city now that believe him, I don't know who they are, but the baseline of what a human can do to another human being. And so when I get these threats, they're real to me and they're scary. And so we already know what somebody can do to somebody else without a motive, but Alex Jones gave these people a motive to hate me and to come after me and attack me.
You talk about him making a profit from this, something that I didn't realise, because it's not really been reported on this side of the Atlantic, but it's been quite widely reported now in America, thank goodness, is that the main motivation for him doing this, and he's a very gifted and very skilled liar and manipulator, he's good at what he does, is because he's got a line on the side selling basically health products. A lot of them half-baked, bogus stuff, but he sells a lot, millions of dollars worth of these products. And the more people he can attract to his website, then the more products he can shift. So what he was doing and why he did what he did was out of sheer, naked, evil greed. As you say, it was to make money. He used you and what happened to your little girl to make dollars. That's it in a nutshell, isn't it?
It is. I mean, that describes it perfectly. And you're right. He is very talented in what he does. He's very good at what he does. He was ready for this moment to be able to exploit it. And the fact that he was trouncing on the memory of a beautiful little girl, or that he was hurting families that were already suffering as much as they were, just kind of goes to show the cold heart that he has. But tens and tens of millions of dollars, and his ability to be able to exploit social media, and how social media did nothing to prevent these lies from being spread and being spread far and wide. It promoted his viewership, and it drew more and more people to his website, so that he could be the charlatan. It really just describes the charlatan of a person that he is.
He has been ordered to pay $1 billion. He was streaming live when the jury's decision was read out in court. He mocked the decision, claiming he'd appeal, and says, "There ain't no money." Do you believe him?
No, it's hard to believe anything that he says. So there is, and throughout the whole course of the trial, he really proved that every time he did something to avoid accountability or to avoid justice, he just made things worse on himself. And right now he's filed bankruptcy. He's going to continue to try and avoid accountability. He's going to continue to try and paint me as somebody that needs to be attacked. But for a long time, I let him do that because I stayed silent, because I felt like that was the way to protect my family. And I don't feel like staying silent anymore. This trial has allowed me to find my voice, and it's allowed me to find the power that's within me to protect my family and to protect other people as well. There are lots and lots of victims of Alex Jones in this country. Sandy Hook families are but not the only people that have been hurt by him.
Robbie,
so he will run out of room, and he'll face accountability for sure. I'm sorry, go ahead.
He lied about you, said you were a crisis actor. What is your actual job?
I work in the United States. It's called a physician assistant. So I'm a medical provider, and I work in the newborn intensive care unit.
You save the lives of newborn babies. I mean, you are a hero in the work that you do every day, up against a villain who has said the most unspeakable, abominable things about what happened to you and your family. How are your family coping now?
At this moment, this trial brought a lot of empowerment to my family and to me personally. It was a very cathartic process. Like I said, we took a beating, a very serious beating for 6 years, until we finally decided that we needed to stand up, because we saw that these attacks didn't just happen to Sandy Hook families. They continued to affect other families from other shootings that happened in this country. And by that time, I knew that I needed to do something, because I knew that when other people are grieving, they should just be allowed to grieve, and they shouldn't have to deal with people like Alex Jones. So at that point, I decided to stand up and do something. And throughout this process, like I said, my family and I, we were able to take a lot of that power back.
Yes.
And we were able to take a lot away from Alex Jones that has nothing to do with money, and give it back to ourselves. And I don't feel like letting that go again. OK,
Robbie, just very briefly, because I'm afraid we're out of time now. You are transparently a decent and civilised and intelligent man. But just as one father to another, I know that I would be unable to control revenge fantasies going way beyond damages in a court of law. How do you cope with them? Because you must have them.
Yeah, I mean, I am a human being that my mind can wander into those places. But I mean, those are the same realms that I think Alex Jones and Alex Jones's listeners go into. So I really try not to spend much time there. I try and focus on what's best for my family and our healing, and really get back to just focusing on our grief and just being somebody that can actually bring a lot of good in this world. Emily's life touched so many people and only brought love and joy and goodness. And as her parents, we want to continue that, and that's what we're going to do.